everyone. Welcome to the Bootleg, a Tennessean high school football production coming to you live each week, looking at high school football here in the Nashville area. I'm Tom Kreager, the high school sports editor here at the Tennessean. He's Michael Murphy, our high school sports reporter slash guru slash know everything about Nashville area preps. Breaking news to start with came out earlier today. Northeast out of Clarksville has had a bit of an issue. We reported late. George Robinson up at the Leaf Chronicle had the story late last week. They have now, today, they found out Northeast has forfeited 5 games, their first 5 games of the season. Of course, they started the season 6-0. They are now 1-5, 1-2 in Region 7-5A, which is a weird region to be in Clarksville. And they, they played an ineligible player. Don't know who. Don't know exactly what's happened. The school system is not being very forthcoming on what really happened. We're still looking into that. But that's the big news here. They can still make the playoffs, but it sure did get different.
It's they were kind of, you felt like chasing history. They wanted that unbeaten season. You were waiting for that game against Henry County, which was going to be for a region championship. Like you said, they can still make the playoffs. They're not out of it. Sometimes when this happens late in the season and it's 8 or 9 games, you're done pretty much. But, I mean, they're still very much relevant. Each game became a little more crucial for them, though.
Well, let's throw this out here. They're 1-2 in region play, and I haven't looked at all the scenarios.
I kind of did a little bit earlier. I was
big game against Clarksville. That game has got much bigger because if they lose that game, they're 1-3 in region play. And then a couple weeks, whenever then they've got a game with Henry County coming up. They lose that game, they're 1-4. Then they're in jeopardy of not making the playoffs, or if they are, they're probably the 4 seed. But if they win. Here's the other thing: if they win, if they beat Clarksville High School, they lose to Henry County. They're 3 losses. There's still a chance that they could finish third.
The way I was looking at it, it's going to be hard for them not to make the playoffs with that region. What you have, some of those teams. It's a very have and have-nots
kind of top heavy.
And what it's going to come down to, I think, is. They don't need to win out. If they beat Henry County, I don't think a region championship is within reach. I don't see Henry County losing 2-3 games. I think they'd have to lose 2 of their final 4. I don't see that happening. But they're still, they could host a playoff game.
They could host a playoff game. They cannot slip up against Clarksville.
Can't. And that's not an easy, that was a big game coming in.
One of our top games for the week.
6-0 versus 5-1.
Yes, so that makes this game in Clarksville a huge game. I believe that's, I'm sure that's where George Robinson will be there, and I think it's the TV game. So big game there. Looking back at week 6, yes, we're already in week 7. Looking back at week 6, game of the week was Oakland hosting Blackman. Oakland beats Blackman 24-14. To me, that puts them well in control of the Region 3 6A standings. And that's. I think now everything's going to run through Oakland. Here's the thing, and we talked about this. We said it would be Xavier Myers versus Tamikis Napier. As far as that would be the big story. Xavier Myers, to me, stole the show. 3 touchdowns, 160 yards rushing in this game. And big game for him. All 3 touchdowns for Oakland. Tamikis Napier, is it Tamikis or Tamikis? Tamikis, sorry,
Let it slide a couple weeks.
Tamikis Napier, 10 carries, 78 yards, a big 25 or 35-yard touchdown run in that game. This big story of the night, in my opinion, the big 3 for Blackman, the big 3 receivers, Trey Knox, Michaelis Elder, and Adonis Ote, combined to go 3 catches for 3 yards.
Yeah, we said Trey Knox and company might not be the huge factor coming in. We pointed to the 2 guys in the backfield, but I don't think either of us saw them getting 3 yards through the air. I think that's just a testament to Oakland's defense.
And, this is also a defense that Justin Jefferson is out with an injury. He's a safety there. Their secondary's kind of been beat up a little bit. They had some guys hurt. And so for them to step up and to beat them 24-14, you're not going to keep Blackman out of the end zone, I don't think. That's a big showing there, and big game for Kevin Creasy, Steven Jackson, the defensive coordinator there, did a wonderful job scheming for that game.
And here's another thing for Oakland. I think they finally got a healthy Joseph Anderson. I talked to Coach Creasy earlier in the week. He's been banged up with an elbow, missed some time, played limited snaps in a lot of games. He said he played the full game against Blackman. I think he had 4 or 5 tackles. He said he should be good to go from here on out.
Now let's spin it forward week 7. Look ahead to this game of the week, and you know we've had some of these guys as our game of the week previously. Independence at Brentwood. Brentwood is in control. Brentwood could take a huge step in winning that Region 6A. And Independence, if they really want to make some noise in this region, this is a must-win.
Yeah, they don't have the best overall record, 2-3.
They had a tough schedule.
Very tough schedule. Still 1-1 in region play, and I mean, if you win this one, you're going to have a logjam up top with 1-loss teams. I think the interesting thing to me is who is at quarterback for Independence. Nathan Sisko's missed the last 3 games with what we've been told is a concussion. Summit transfer Ethan Cash has stepped up big in that time.
Over 300 yards in their last game. 3
touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the last 2 games. That's kind of, I think, going to tell the story for Independence, who plays there. And then we know who that guy is for Brentwood. Sophomore Cade Granzow. He's coming off a season-high 314-yard effort, thrown 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He's not playing like a sophomore anymore.
Here's the thing with Brentwood and Ron Crawford teams. I think we all thought, at least I thought, going into this season, this is a team that basically graduated the entire starting lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, they were very, very
Defense,
little.
11 new starters.
Yes. I mean, very little coming back from the starting lineup. A lot of talent coming back, but unproven varsity talent. A lot of these guys played a lot of JV action. They got into a lot of varsity games and some lopsided games, but they didn't get the true varsity experience. And they have done a great job. They've kind of surprised me because I just didn't. There were so many question marks with, who was going to be the quarterback?
Yep.
How was Granzow going to be as a sophomore? Who was he going to throw to? Was he going to be able to get it to Bishop and Williams and all that? And what defensively, what they're going to do? They have really came on strong. And you got to look from a playoff standpoint. Could this be one, you got to get past Ravenwood again.
Yeah.
But it seems like you got to get you got the 3 from last year. You got Brentwood, Ravenwood, and Cane Ridge.
Yep.
And if you can survive that, you're gonna go down to Memphis and go see Rodney Salisbury in Whitehaven or Germantown. One of those 2.
It's a huge game. I think Brentwood is, like you said, those are going to be the 3 teams. That's what it was last year. And when I was filling out my bracket, we all did that last year. I actually picked Brentwood going to the finals because I just kept looking. I go, dang, you got Cane Ridge, you got Brentwood, Ravenwood. Brentwood beat and I just came to the conclusion that it was going to be Brentwood second round. Nope. So I think it really is going to be those 3 teams again.
All right, big games for week 7. Nolensville is at Tullahoma. That's a big Region 4-4A game. Nolensville and Tullahoma join Maplewood as 3 of the undefeated teams in region play. This, of course, that'll be broken on Friday. Nolensville, they've got Wharton back. Still a little dinged, not bad, but the Ryder, the other quarterback's doing well. Colton Dooley's doing well. I mean, this is an offense that has performed well in their 3rd year, and especially when you consider Paul Derrick's a defensive guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Will Hester, when he was there, he was the offensive guy. Paul handled the defense, so they have done a good job with this offense.
And look at who they've played, too. Like last week, I mean, they lost, of course. Very close game. I think it was a 1-score game. They played 5A Page, extremely close. Those are their 2 losses on the year. They've been in every game they've played, and I absolutely think that to be the case Friday as well.
The 3rd team that's undefeated is Maplewood, and that's on the horizon for both those teams. Another big game. This used to be a huge, huge rivalry. This might have been one of the biggest rivalry games in this area at one point.
They tell me, that was before my time. But I mean, I've looked back at the records.
You're not that old, or not that young. Come on. Portland at White House. I remember the old Perry versus Porter games. I mean, that was some great games. But Portland. They seem to be doing quite well this year. The quarterback Mandrell, White House, of course, coming off that undefeated regular season last year, had a little bit of a hiccup, but came up big win against Springfield last week. This game, and it's a big rivalry game.
Yep.
It's a close rivalry game.
Just like Lipscomb Goodpasture a couple weeks ago. Same scenario. This is the 50th meeting Friday. White House holds a 25-24 advantage. So that, to my understanding, Portland just dominated the series early on.
Mm-hmm.
Portland, we know, has had some dark years in maybe the last decade or so. That White House really caught up. They've actually won 7 of the last 10.
Dark years, folks. He said it. Dark
years. Ages.
Had some dark years. I've had some dark years. East Nashville at Giles County, big Region 5-3A game. If I was getting out of this area, if I was getting out of 1100 Broadway on Friday night, I would drive down to Pulaski. Great environment, great stadium.
Really great stadium.
This is a game I'd like to see because this is the big game I've been waiting for to see. Can East Nashville pull off the big win that some people, at least preseason, didn't expect them to win this game? Now some people probably do expect him to win this game, but still you got Bryce Wallace at Giles County.
And you can't overlook Bryce Wallace or his top receiver KJ Ziegler. I look at this game as offense versus defense. I mean, this East Nashville team has been great over the last month. They've given up 1 touchdown in 4 games. 3 shutouts.
They destroyed Brainerd last week.
Man,
right?
I think they had 4 sacks, 4 interceptions. They just got it done. Brainerd is not a juggernaut, but they have been taking care of teams they should take care of. On the other side of the ball, Bryce Wallace, he is very difficult to stop. I saw him play Pearl Cone earlier in the season. Pearl Cone ended up running away with that one at the end, but it was through no fault of Bryce. I mean, that guy can just
he throws it pretty.
He puts
football.
it where he wants, and I mean, I think it'll be close. And I look for East Nashville. I don't think it's going to be low scoring. You said I think East Nashville will win. I think they can win, and I think it would be a big stop late, a turnover, a fumble, maybe a sack, something like that.
I like Bryce Wallace. I think the loss to Franklin County last week will eat at them. But I mean, that's not to take away from what Franklin County did with Neil and Gene. I just think this team's going to be very motivated in this game, playing at home in a game that they know that this is a big. I mean, you lose this game, for them, they're third.
Yep.
So they have a lot riding on this game, having already played Pearl Cone. They know, I think this is for second place in that region. This is for a home game. So big game for Giles. This is a must-win for Giles if they want to play at home in the first round of the football playoffs. I do like Giles in this game. I'm just a big fan of Bryce Wallace.
He's such a big fan of Bryce Wallace.
I am. I mean, he's one of those guys that I would buy a box of popcorn and go sit in the stands and just watch throw the football because I think he's a great quarterback just to watch play.
I would agree with that.
So, but I'll be here at the office, so I will not be buying
getting
popcorn.
The stats and the score updates.
Maybe someone will keep me updated there. So, since we are in week 7, wanted to start this thing. We'll do this throughout the rest of the regular season. Mr. Football. We call this the Mr. Football Watch segment of the show. Okay. And basically, Mr. Football is a regular season award put on by the TSAA, sponsored by the Tennessee Titans. They've changed it around some this year, or last year they did, where it's basically one award per class plus a kicker award. So that's the kind of where we're at. I'm going to start it here. I'm going to talk about 3 players that I think should be strong candidates for the Mr. Football Award. And if we don't mention you, it may be because we've held off for another week. Because we're gonna continue to do this.
And we're mentioning 3. There's 9 classes.
Yeah, and give it a couple of years, there'll be 10 or 11 classes. But Division II Single A, I have a hard time believing that the award doesn't begin and end right now with Stone Norton, the quarterback at Davidson Academy. He's 88 of 123, 1,713 yards, 20 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He's going to FIU. Great numbers for them, and he's done so much for this team in a year after he didn't really throw the ball as much this year. This time he's really
last year he didn't. This year, I don't know the exact formula for quarterback rating. I know the higher number you get, the better. His quarterback rating is 146.6. I believe that's the highest of any mid-state guy. So I mean that. Yeah. And it starts with Stone Norton. I think if it doesn't end with Stone Norton, it's because of his teammate, DeJuan Hewitt. I think he's the only other, at this point, serious.
It's a two-horse race with two kids from Davidson Academy, in my eyes.
If you're a stat guy, they play Fayette Academy next Friday. They've got some players. Hold on, let me pull up the young man's name. He's a quarterback, throws it, runs it. And I think depending on that game, this is a regular season award, depending on who wins that game, I think that could kind of change some opinions a little bit.
Well, and here's the other part about this. I'm trying to find something that someone had tweeted me, so bear with me. DeJuan Hewitt could, if he has a second half that's similar to the first one, he could have another big game he could definitely win it.
Yep.
Just because this kid, he's going Purdue, so he's legit. He's definitely legit. And he had huge numbers last year, and people remember him for what he did last year, well over 2,000 yards, 1,029 yards now, 19 touchdowns. They're both. There's something to watch. We kid all the time. Are they going to blow up the scoreboard as many points as they're putting on?
Yeah.
I'd hate to be the stat guy because he probably is getting writer's cramp every time.
Here's the thing with Davidson Academy, though. I'm sure both of those guys would much rather win a state championship than win Mr. Football. After last year, I talked to both of these guys in the preseason, asked them kind of. DeJuan felt like he probably should have won Mr. Football last year. When I kind of asked him, what would you rather have? It's a state championship, but I think both of those guys are definitely in the conversation.
All right, next one we want to talk about. We're gonna jump up to 6A. Devon Starling.
Yeah, he's just been getting it done. Just 114 carries, 1,147 yards, 13 touchdowns. He's run for at least 100 yards in every game.
4 or 5 interceptions.
I think it's 4.
Okay.
I think it's 4 interceptions. But he's used in spots on defense when it's an obvious passing situation for the other team, and he just kind of plays center field out there. He is tough to bring down. I spoke to the Cane Ridge coaching staff on Friday. He's got the speed. He's got strength, size. They say it's his vision, though, that sets him apart from the rest.
He borrows contacts.
And it's his good vision,
Tom.
Oh,
okay.
He finds holes that aren't there, and when you watch him play, you can really see it. He's a creative runner. He's not too creative. He goes upfield, but he finds the holes.
Here's the thing, and this isn't. I'm not trying to knock anyone by any means in 6A. A lot of people that we had pegged to have big numbers, big years this year, haven't really had those big years yet. Now they may pick up last few games of the season. Remember, it's a regular season award.
Yeah.
That's got to help his chances, don't you think?
I would think so, and the simple fact that his team's 6-0, they're very much in the hunt.
And they went to the finals last year.
They went to the finals. They didn't have a great showing in the finals as a team. Yeah. Starling broke the 100-yard mark, though, scored the team's only touchdown. So, he's performed on a big stage before, and I think people know who he is a lot more than they did last year.
Can he get the offers? Will they come, you think?
I don't know. One thing I do know, I talked to him, I don't think he cares. I think he just wants to go to college for free, and play football, and that's already a lock.
Last one we want to talk about this week. Bobo Hodges, Class 5A, Maplewood quarterback. Big numbers from him. I saw his stats today, and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize the touchdowns kind of jumped out at me.
Yeah, he can make it rain. 24 touchdowns, 3 picks in 6 games. And 1,436 yards. Not quite as much as Stone. What Bobo can do, though, is run the football. Not the most gaudy rushing numbers, 262 yards and a touchdown, but he keeps so many plays alive. The one thing people need to know about him is he is a quarterback. He is very athletic, but if you watch him play, you will watch him just light it up. He can spin it.
We talked about this. I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm going to. To me, the tough competition that Bobo's going to have is out in East Tennessee. The kid's going to Army. He won the award last year, and he's a great quarterback. Cade Ballard at Greenville led them to an undefeated season. They're undefeated right now, and again, it's a regular season award, so who knows? Maybe they met in the playoffs and Maplewood won. But I got to think Cade Ballard is going to be tough to beat because everyone, the voters, are going to all know him. All your coaches and sports writers from across the state will all know him. Here's the thing about Cade. He's 65 of 78 passing, 1,178 yards, 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I want to bring that back. He's thrown 13 incomplete passes all season. He's got more touchdown passes than incompleted passes. Then they played a decent schedule. They played 3 6A teams: Dobbins, Bennett, Science Hill, and Morristown West or East, or one of those teams, I think. So they've played up, and they've blown some teams up. So I mean, I know like Bobo, he's not playing every down. There's been a lot of games when he's been pulled out.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's those two right now.
Yeah, I would definitely those two. And on your first point, I think Cade is probably the front runner, just to kind of how it works. I mean, he's been around. He
won it last year. He hasn't played any worse.
That shouldn't factor in, but it will. And I think it's his award to lose. Now, here's what I'm looking for. Maybe hypothetically, Greenville has a not so great week, and his stats take a dive, and Bobo's don't. Are people just going to still go? Well, this guy won it. He's going to Army. They're going to win state. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know the answer.
And here's the quarterback we're not talking about is Stanton Martin over at Anderson County. He does everything if he stays healthy. He does everything, and they'd have to play. I believe in the regular season. I think they play I think they're in the same region. They would meet likely. So what happens if Stanton Martin has a bigger showing, and does he go into that? When do they play?
They do not play in the regular season.
Okay, so they probably that's a quarterfinal game.
So these are all three guys. They're not going to have a chance to go at each other
until postseason.
Yeah, and so we'll see what happens.
That's why we talk about these games. That's why we talk about it. So anyway, that's our first look at the Mr. Football Watch, and obviously. A lot can happen. It is a regular season award. I cannot
keeps harping
reiterate that enough, because what will happen is someone will have a great regular season, someone really blossoms in the playoffs, and when they have that announcement, they're like, "Well, this guy has done this in the postseason." Well, it's the regular season.
And it can be confusing. They hand them out the week before the championship, so it is kind of.
But you and I both know we've been at those things, and you're like, wait a minute, this guy won, but this guy outran him by 150 yards 2 weeks ago. Well, that's in the playoffs.
Well, we voted 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, so. when the decision was made, forever ago, that's just kind of how it happens. Yeah. So, folks, that's it for this week's edition of the Bootleg. Again, I'm Tom Kreager with the Tennessean. He's Michael Murphy. We'll be back next week, or at least one of us will be back. Yep. You have to come back next week to figure that out. But we'll see you next week.